Welcome to the Business Behind Your Business, conversations to help your business grow and thrive. Hi, I'm Paul Sweeney, founder of Pretium Solutions, Chartered Accountants and Certified Business Advisors, hosting the Business Behind Your Business. Welcome back to the Business Behind Your Business. I'm your host, Paul Sweeney, Chartered Accountant and a Business Advisor. And today we're going to look at a software tool, or not so much a software tool, but a tool to help you run your business better. And it's not a tool that's for every business, but it's quite essential as you're growing your business, and particularly if you've got inventory. And we're going to be looking at this idea of an ERP system. And now, if you're like me and you might not know what that acronym stands for, I've got the best person I know to explain it to us. So I'm going to welcome David Fisk, who's the Business Development Manager from Jiwa Financial. So David, welcome to the microphone.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you very much.
Good to have you here. Now, look, before we find out a bit more about you, ERP, what is an ERP?
Well, basically, ERP is an acronym for Enterprise Resource Planning, and it can be defined as the ability to deliver an integrated suite of business applications. ERP tools share a common process and data model covering broad and deep operational end-to-end processes, such as those found in finance, distribution, manufacturing, service, landed cost, and the supply chain. What you could say is it's MYOB on steroids. It's not for everyone, but as some software out there gets to a certain point, you need ERP to go to the next level, whether it be in relation to inventory, whether it be in relation to reporting, special prices, whatever the case may be. The current software just doesn't do enough, and you need something better.
Mm-hmm. And look, we've talked about software on the program before, and we've talked about how your accounting system is only really your accounting system and probably doesn't have the capability to do specialized inventory. And the two systems will talk together, but you can't get your business to a point where you really need a fit-for-purpose one system that does everything. And there's a couple of reasons why that's essential, and we're going to go through that. But David, tell us a bit more about what you do and why Jiwa Financial.
Yeah. Well, Paul, basically, I've been employed with Jiwa Financials for now. Well, I was employed December 2017. And prior to that, I was in sales roles within IT companies to also being a technology insurance broker. And my main aim is to help companies manage their inventory and organisation more effectively through Jiwa's innovative ERP software solution. My focus all my career has been on customer service. And although we have our Jiwa solution providers or resellers who are the main contact for the customer, when an opportunity becomes a client on a quarterly basis, I actually send a quick email with a survey, things like how's business, how's Jiwa going, how's the JSP performing, like the Jiwa solution provider performing, any suggestions they may have in relation to helping with the software, like enhancements, as well as also if they wanted to be part of a success story on how Jiwa has helped their customer, has helped them. So Jiwa itself, it's a software company that provides a robust, scalable and well-priced ERP solution that has the potential of reducing the client's costs, increasing their efficiencies and profit. First implemented in 1995, it's continually evolved with its functionality and to meet customer requirements. It offers exceptional data integrity and software performance, and it's used extensively in the import, wholesale, distribution, manufacturing, warehousing and service industries. Big thing is it's an Australian company, and the majority, I'd say probably over 98% of the software development is done here in Australia. And that's a big thing for clients, where the support is being an Australian company, as well as also the development. because some people kind of think, oh, where's your development? Oh, it's overseas. And something can take months, sometimes years, to come through. Whereas being in Australia, it's a lot more nimble. It can be done.
So look, you've mentioned a few things there, David, and I think one key thing is there that you're not in the process of selling software. You're in the process of selling a solution, but your clients or the people that use Jiwa are part of that journey. They're involved in that development. They're giving feedback. They're actually giving you real-time feedback on how things are going. You listen to them about what they need, what their businesses are going through. So we're not talking about selling software here. We're talking about selling a solution. And some of the benefits are, you mentioned, you've got one suite of products, which saves time and money. And, learning multiple pieces of software or multiple processes is really an area where you introduce risk with employees, particularly if you've got employees that don't want to be doing the software. And I know plenty of times we've worked with clients in manufacturing, and the guys manufacturing need to enter data into multiple systems with multiple different logins, and generally one of those doesn't get done, or two don't get done because they'll do the minimum. They don't want to be logging into different systems, but having everything in one place and all talking together, that has got to save time, and you've got less training, less risk of error. All the information is up to date, and it's all talking together because you don't have any dropouts in integrations or anything like that. So that's got to be good for business.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, because there are some cases out there in the market where someone may have, as you say, an accounting package that does the invoices or the financials, and you have another package do the inventory. And most of the time, they do talk, but a lot of the times they don't. And so what you're going to have to do is you have to have kind of two systems open at the same time to make sure they're talking to each other. So it's kind of, you're adding another step to your day. You're kind of increasing your efficiencies. And having one software to handle everything actually does help with efficiencies or increases efficiencies because you're not there checking all the time. And it may be down to a case of actually buying something, like as in some equipment or something, and you might think you've got money, but you haven't actually. Or it could be a case of bringing in something like importing something, and the systems just aren't syncing. And that's not thinking, but syncing.
Yes, yeah. So. Look, I've seen that firsthand with clients that have had separate inventory system and separate accounting system, and the values of inventory in both systems were not in line. There was batches or there were periods where the data didn't transfer cleanly from one system to the other. And of course, no end of complication with inventory records being out of sync, but also customer account balances being out of sync. In one system, we've got saying they've paid, and in another system, it says that they still owe you money, which is the source of truth. So having it all in one place has got to be an advantage.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So what type of industries really use the ERP system? Because I know you talked about import and wholesale. Who suits having an ERP system?
Well, I guess Jiwa's ICP, ideal client profile, is people who import and wholesale. But I mentioned that distribution companies, manufacturers, warehousing companies, it's almost like anyone who has inventory could look at ERP. Like we've got a whole lot of food companies, like they're food distributors. We've got a whole lot of food manufacturers. We have a lot of cleaning companies, as in not cleaning companies, people who clean, more that they sell cleaning products.
Yep.
It's very broad. It really comes down to, as I say to clients, where I'll approach them and they'll say, oh, what's the difference between yours and, say, NetSuite, as an example? And I say, I'm not here to compare the products. It's more a case of, are you in pain? And what we want to do is demonstrate how we can solve that problem or problems. We're not here to kind of push a sale. If we can't help, we'll let you know up front. But the good thing is with Jiwa is that it's not only feature-rich out of the box, it's also got what's called a plug-in environment, which enables the software to be customised to solve the problems the client is having.
So
And that's
what are
where
the main problems, Dave? You mentioned that solving the pain, but what are the more common pain points that you solve?
inventory control, that's a big one. Correct landed cost, manufacturing, doing that correctly, as in bill of materials, special prices, as in whether it be quantity breaks or whether it be a customer who buys so much gets a certain discount. Huge companies get a certain discount. There could be other things like top of the head. They seem to be the main ones. There is no, what's the word? There is no standard, but what I've seen over time were the ones I've just mentioned. So
the manufacturing is one that's quite relevant to me, because I know that whole process, you want to have it consistently tracked throughout all of the process and easy to follow. I remember a client that didn't have a good system in place, and they used to have so many manual records, which relied on each person in the stage manually updating where it was up to. When the business owner came in and said, "Where is this up to?" He'd have to rifle through pages of manually updated documents to find it. But by changing to an ERP system, they were able to actually see at a glance where every job was up to in the manufacturing process, and what materials were needed, and what was outstanding, what the delays were. So it gave the owner a lot more visibility about what's going on in their business, what's going on the factory floor, and also a lot less stress, because they had an understanding of where exactly their business was up to.
yeah, and like a couple of other things which I didn't mention were things like reducing the use of spreadsheets. That you mentioned that briefly. That's a massive one. People just are using spreadsheet after spreadsheet after spreadsheet, and having an ERP system actually reduces the need for that, which then increases efficiencies. And apart from that, as you say about the manufacturing thing, people don't know where their inputs are, because a lot of inputs go into, like, it could be 10 inputs or 5 inputs going into one thing, which creates one product. And they don't know how that works. They don't know the cost of that. They don't know where it's up to. And so, it can be quite daunting.
Yeah, and
quite confusing.
And having good quality information about the cost of how much it costs to make an item is critical. I know so many businesses that in the past have not had that clarity about what it actually costs them to produce an item. And then when it comes to pricing that item, they're way off the mark. In fact, I've seen businesses sell for below what it costs them to produce, which is catastrophic if it's continued. So you've got to have that visibility, and that's why automating the systems, having good control, good visibility, good reporting. Now, reporting is key, because there's a lot of data in there. So how easy is it for somebody to use an ERP system to get a good knowledge of what's going on in the business?
Well, it's a case of, like, for example, with Jiwa, out of the box comes 300 reports. So, and we have also access to a program called Power BI, which is an analytical software, which enables people to actually extract data and information on a dashboard, whether that be number of sales in the last quarter, whether it be number of sales in the last year. And information is king. If you've got the information at your fingertips, you can make then logical decisions and profitable decisions. If you've got information that's not, well, it's really guesswork. You could want to make a decision about buying another business, and without the right information, you could be doing the wrong thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, even just introducing, buying a business is a big step, but even just introducing a new product line, or deciding whether you continue producing a product, because if it's not profitable, then the obvious answer is that you should stop producing.
That's
the
right.
emotional answer is no, I want to make this work. But if the emotional answer is I want to make it work, then you need to know what it's costing you, and then change your pricing accordingly.
Correct. Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of decisions to be made out of it. So one of the other stumbling blocks I've found with business owners is that they want simplicity. Do they need to know every step of the process? Do different people in the process have a different skill, a different need to know different parts of an ERP?
Definitely. There's kind of like we say there's 6 people in the organisation that needs different information for their job. People from the CEO to the CFO to the CIO to the directors and investors to the operational manager. Each has a different need for their business, and each has a different. Well, not everyone wants to know X, but a lot of people need to know Y. As an example, very poor example, but because it's not horses for courses. Well, sorry, actually, it would be horses for courses, because the CEO wants to know. Basically, a good ERP system provides the this is for the CEO. A good ERP system provides the information you need to create realistic, achievable, and successful strategies. It can deliver insights into company performance versus target metrics and industry standards, or provide analysis of departmental and warehouse efficiencies. It arms managers and staff with knowledge so they can perform their jobs efficiently and more effectively. That's for a general manager, what they want an ERP that should support agility with fast customization of functionality, easy tailoring of forms and screen based on staff roles, ad hoc and customizable reporting on any aspect of the business, rapid integration with new applications and systems, industry-specific functionality, multi-company functionality for fast integration of new business assets or acquisitions. Now, I could go on, but each role has a different need, and an ERP can tailor it for the individual.
So with the different levels of access there, so obviously somebody on the factory floor isn't going to need the high level financial picture that a CEO or CFO is going to need, but how do you limit what each role can actually access or needs to access? Are there different security settings which are common?
Yeah, it's done by password driven, authority driven, depending on the actual person itself.
Mm-hmm.
So once again, with Jiwa, you can actually have this. You've got this massive. It's a bit like Microsoft Word. It's huge, but you only need to use a certain amount of data, and we can actually cut down the data, cut down the screens, so that it relates just to you, and so people don't get confused, and so they can actually focus in on what they need to know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because one of the concerns is like having access to too much information or too many screens. But when you limit the choice about where people can go and what they can do, it makes it very simple to do the data entry and the reporting that you need to do, and understand exactly where each, I guess, stage of the process is up to, where your stock is, whether it's on order, whether it's in manufacture, what the next step is. And so clarity around what's going on, so which is great for the employees because they can actually. You're sort of empowering them because they've got a process and they know what's next. They don't have to wait for the boss to turn up. They don't have to wait for the general manager to turn up. They know very simply from the system what the next job to start is, or what the next order is, and where to go, and how to complete the process. So giving your staff how to and the knowledge to help run your business better. Every business owner should be looking for that.
Yeah, isn't there a saying, knowledge is king, or something like that? Well, too much knowledge can be detrimental, but if you do limit it to what they need, it's amazing.
Yeah. So it's the way we use our knowledge, and having a focused system is really helpful. So and so why do we need an ERP? Why do we need something different? But I think you've explained a lot of the benefits there today, David, because really, your accounting systems are designed for a specific function, and they're going to be limited when you go beyond that. They're not going to help with all that scheduling and production and different pricing and that. So you've got to use the right tool. It's I equate it to a bit like me going out and trying to cut my lawn with a pair of hand scissors. It'll get the job done. It won't look great, and it'll take me a long time, and I'll be not not pleased with the process, but if I use the right tool, a good mower and I'll have a really nice result. But I think so often we see people, as you mentioned, struggling with spreadsheets that don't work, that aren't reliable, lots of errors, lots of processes that aren't followed. Don't use that. Don't persist with that. Have a look at whether your business is ready for an ERP system, because maybe your business isn't quite there. But as you're growing, if you want to grow your business, then you need to have the right tools to make it grow efficiently and profitably. And as we've heard today, an ERP system is good business sense.
Yeah. I don't want to be this a sales pitch for Jiwa, but a lot of people think ERP is for huge companies. We have designed our ERP for the SME market, and so it's very well priced. It's feature rich, but it's very well priced. And so it brings in, but it kind of, it helps companies that, I don't know, maybe 5 users and above. We've actually got a couple of users who will use it, because we've got one JSP or Jiwa solution provider who has actually brought out a small end ERP solution. But as I say, like 5 users and above, like our ideal client profile is around about the 10, 15 user mark. Like we've done, yes, bigger clients than that, but that's where we seem to find our real niche. Whereas other ERP solutions, you've got to be 50 to 100 to kind of make it worth their while. That with the way ours is priced, it can be a good decision to make and not cost an arm and a leg.
I think one of the key things for business owners these days is a lot of the tools that we traditionally thought were only in the realm of the big companies, the big players, they're actually available to small, medium market. And you mentioned that sweet spot of 10 to 15. My take on that is if you've got 5 people and you want to grow to a much bigger business where you're going to need 10 to 15, time to start planning and putting in your ERP system is when you make the decision you want to grow. Because I don't think until you make that step and actually have good systems that you're going to grow efficiently. You're going to grow with a lot of growing pains, and if you can avoid the pain, much better.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, totally agree.
Great. Well, thanks for your time today, David. It's been great to hear some practical reasons around ERP systems and how you can structure your operations more efficiently. David, if people want to get in contact with you, what's the best way for them to reach out?
Either one via email, david.fisk@jiwa, jiwa.com.au, or on the mobile 0452 215 492.
Great, fantastic. And we'll put those details for David in the show notes, so you'll be able to follow him up when you finish driving and listening to the podcast. And look, as always, if you found today's episode useful, please share it with somebody that could also benefit from it. We'd encourage you to share. And if you've got any questions, get in touch with us. You can email us at podcast@thebusinessbehindyourbusiness.com, and we'll be happy to include your question in an upcoming episode. So once again, David, thank you for your time. It's been great to have you on the show.
Thank you, Paul.
Thanks for listening. Do you have a question you'd like our team of experts to answer? If you do, send your question to podcast@thebusinessbehindyourbusiness.com. To hear more from The Business Behind Your Business, don't forget to subscribe using your favourite podcast player. Or you can visit the businessbehindyourbusiness.com website.